Everyone, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll be discussing the latest news concerning the Ukrainian invasion of Russia. We'll go over the facts and then I will give you my analysis on the situation. So basically, as you can see, Ukraine has made some pretty significant gains ever since they started this invasion of Russia, with the capturing of actually like probably 10 to 11 different small villages and towns, and them actually reaching the very outskirts of this major city over here. And this city, while it only has like 6,000 people in population, it is like the major Russian stronghold over here. Over here we have some strongholds over here. However, Ukraine has cut the access from this road to that city, and from that city to this city, or wherever the Russian forces are over here. Now, going to this map, which shows more geolocations and just way more news, we do have a Ukrainian attack posted by a military blogger, which reads that, according to the information, the enemy entered this town over here, Kornove and Zazushna, two border district centers of Kursk region. It is tough. The fighting is currently taking place directly within the borders. Okay, so since he's calling the Ukrainians, what Putin's been calling them for a long time, and calling them the enemy, I'm going to say this is a Russian military blogger. If it is true that they have reached this is massive gains for Ukraine. And according to them, they have also reached this. However, this is a drone attack, so it shows that the Ukrainians are not there right now. This is the result of clashes. So I don't know if they're talking about bombs going off or something like that. It seems that way, because that civilian would probably not just be walking there if the place was actively getting bombed. Over here we see all these Russian soldiers being captured. Now, these were border guards. They didn't know what was going on, and they just got rounded up by these Ukrainians and captured. Over here you see all these Ukrainian flags, something you really have not seen in a while. And Ukraine has made some massive gains, okay? There's no doubt about it. Ukraine has done something massive over here. The thing is that this was my problems with the Russian attack on Kharkiv. Now, one thing that's interesting to point out is that these are Ukrainian soldiers. That has never happened before. Ukraine always relied on the freedom of Russian Legion to do stuff like that, so that never happened before. However, when you look at the Russians in Kharkiv, look how much land they took, and then they've been bogged down, and they've actually lost land ever since they've taken all this land. The thing is, nobody's going to have the border heavily fortified, the direct border, and the reason being is because literally no one's going to say, okay, this is a Russian trench right here, this is a Ukrainian trench right here. That would not make logical sense. So we actually have to find out where Russian lines of defense are, which we can see the Ukrainians have captured some. Over here is a Russian line of defense, and actually see if the Ukrainians are able to push through it. Now, a lot of people are criticizing the Ukrainians for this, and the reason being is because they're already lacking manpower, and they're going to launch another offensive. Well, you can look at it from two places. And the thing is that if you want to negotiate, and Zelensky's trying to have this peace summit in November that he wants the Russians to attend, if you're trying to negotiate off the fact that, hey, we're losing ground right now all over the Donbass front, but please negotiate and leave, that's not going to work. So you are going to have some successes. This could be because of the U.S. presidential elections happening this November. Or it could be that the aid is going to run out by the end of 2025, and they're going to need Congress to pass more aid. They need battlefield successes. One thing I mentioned under this video, and I got a lot of hate for it, is that the Americans, during the American Revolution, the French needed a victory before they were willing to send troops in. Now, we know the West isn't going to send troops in, but the West needs a victory before sending more aid. So if you just stay trying to keep these lines the same way they have been, or worse, trying to launch offensives, that's not the thing you want to do. You want to actually show your opponent and your allies that you still can win, and you don't have to play by the playbook, that the imaginary playbook that says only fight across this front line. And that's what Russia broke during Kharkiv, and that's what it seems like Ukraine is breaking during this Kursk offensive. Now, if the Ukrainians do what they did during the Kharkiv counteroffensive of 2022, they may have some success if they kind of avoid major cities and just focus on encircling them or blocking the supply lines to where the Russians will retreat. But if they try to go head on to this major city, I think it's going to be like what the Russians facing Volchansk. They're going to take some ground, then it's just going to stall out completely. Again, is this a diversion? Some people are saying it's a diversion to the nuclear power plant over here, because this had like literally not a lot of defenses over here. Right before or right after the incursion started, the Ukrainians, according to Ryber, which is very pro-Russian, but he's very accurate too, tried to land troops over here on this strait. So is this a diversion? Is this a real offensive? And again, people are talking about Ukraine's manpower issues, but one thing I wondered when Ukraine started talking about it is, why would Ukraine be so willing to give the enemy all their struggles? Hey, we have a lot of men. Why couldn't Zelensky tell the West that in private instead of just going all out and saying it? That could be a trick. I'm not saying it is, but remember during the Ukrainian 2023 counteroffensive, I forget his name. It was Popov. Yeah, the Russian general Popov was complaining about lack of resources. His men were going to break near the Zaporizhia front, I believe it was. His men were going to break. He would lack of resources, and that never happened. And that could have been him saying that publicly, him getting fired. Major deception here for the Ukrainians to just throw everything they have in Zaporizhia, thinking what the man was saying was true, only to find out it wasn't. So that's just a lot of things are happening. Wagner coup, a lot of people saw him making predictions. I fell for that myself. Unfortunately, YouTube took down those videos. But I saw him making a bunch of predictions. It was only the first day, and it ended very fast. So we are going to have to wait actually weeks to see how this plays out. Will the Russians be able to stop them? Will the Ukrainians be able to gain ground? Because if the Ukrainians have, according to this Russian military blogger, reached this area, and there's concentration of forces here, that's pretty significant. I mean, just from where they are right now, that would be a 11-kilometer gain. Now, where they are from where they started, that would even be more significant with a 24-kilometer gain. That's around where the Russians all around Prokras, and a lot of people are saying Prokras is going to fall either late this year or early next year. Now, he also said Ukrainian soldiers had reached this city, so it's all about geolocations. It's all about finding out really what's happening. He could say this. He's a Russian military blogger. He's anti-Ukraine, but he could be getting his facts wrong. That's just it. So anyway, guys, I'll keep you guys updated. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.